This video talks about a feature of Statgraphics that we call StatPublish. StatPublish allows you to take all of the output contained in a StatFolio and save it as HTML. That allows anyone else in your organization to view the output using any web browser. You can also set up a script, what we call a StatFolio startup script, so that whenever you load a StatFolio, the output is automatically published as HTML. This allows you basically to set up a system by which perhaps every morning StatFolios are loaded, data is read and analyzed, and the results are published for others to look at. If you watched the first video in this section, you'll remember that I created a sample StatFolio by reading an Excel file and running what's called a process capability analysis. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the publishing features to this StatFolio. I'll do that by going to the File menu and selecting StatPublish. Now initially it's going to want me to specify some path on a local directory somewhere. It could be on my computer, it could be on a local server someplace, where it can publish the HTML. I can also specify, if I wish, some site on a web server if I'm set up to do an FTP upload after it publishes it locally. Down in the bottom left, I specify what output of the StatFolio I want to include. By default, it's set up to include all of the analyses and also the comments window, but you can include other windows as well. In the middle of the dialog box, you specify the size of the graph in pixels, the width and height of the graph. The defaults are pretty good. And on the right-hand side, specify the format of the images that will be saved on those HTML pages. Now, the typical format is JPEG, although there's also a special option here, and that is to create Java applets and embed them on your output pages. The neat thing about that is you can have the graphs then update every so many seconds, in which case the output on the web page could change. Now that would be used in conjunction with the polling of a data source that I demonstrated in another video, where the StatFolio, for example, goes out, rereads its data source every 30 seconds, updates all the analyses. Well, in this case, you could set things up so every 30 seconds after the output is published, the applets on the web page would update their graphs. That would allow a user that's sitting there looking at what appears to be a static web page actually see the graphs change dynamically as you recalculate them. In this case, I'll be satisfied with the static images, so I'll just go ahead and press OK. I'll see a dialog box that indicates, oh yes, the StatFolio has been published successfully. I can then press OK, and if I return to the File menu and choose View Published Results, this will launch a browser that will allow me to see the output I've just created. Now, here you're looking at part of an HTML file, actually the table of contents, and I'm viewing it through Internet Explorer. You'll see a link on this table of contents page to a comments page, but more interestingly to the process capability analysis. Clicking on that link, it will take me to where I can view the output that was just created. And if I scroll down through this window, you can see the capability plot and the X chart, all now simply from within the browser. One more thing to do. If I want the StatFolio to automatically publish its results when it's loaded, I need to go to the Edit menu and select what we call the StatFolio Startup Script. The StatFolio startup script tells the StatFolio what to do whenever it's loaded. Well, I'm going to ask it to do two things when it's loaded. First, I'm going to ask it to execute that process capability analysis. Secondly, I'm going to ask it to publish the results. This means that whenever the StatFolio is loaded, it will now first do the capability analysis, but secondly, publish the results the way I've told it to. I'll now press OK and say File, Save StatFolio to save all that information away. And now it's set, whenever it's reloaded, to automatically do that publish.